All right, let's before we head to the phones, we'll just touch on this Bucks Packers
Yeah,
game.
which is so I was so interested by this because I mean when I picked the game when I picked the Packers to win, I was even still expecting there just to be more like offensive
More offense.
firepower. Like what this showed honestly was that the Packers and Bucks defenses are very good.
Yeah.
Both of them are really impressing me so far this season. I mean, that Bucks front seven is really, really formidable. I mean, Vita Vea. I gotta check this guy's name. He had a hyphenated name. I'd never seen him before. But I also think this is a testament to Todd Bowles as a defensive mind. Is that a lot of these guys in the front seven are kind of just plug and play. Some of
Mm-hmm.
these guys that I'm not even super familiar with were really getting home and like creating a lot of obstacles for Rodgers.
Tryon
It wasn't Tryon Shiinka is another guy.
Shrinka, yeah.
Nunez something. Nunez.
Nunez Roches.
Yes, yes,
Oh, so like you're talking about the guy behind Vea at nose
yes,
tackle.
yes.
Yeah.
He was in there for a few snaps. I was really he kind of flew off the page for me, so to speak. When I was like, wow, I've never even heard of this guy. And he was getting past the center. He was getting into Rodgers's grill a few times, and also, of course, I mean, we have there's not a whole lot we even have to say about Devin White,
Yeah.
Levante David, Antoine Winfield. Like it's a superstar defense, but then even crazier than that for me was just seeing how amazing these Packers look on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like even with our concerns about the receiving core, these guys will stay in the game
Yeah.
with Devondre Campbell at linebacker, Eric Stokes looking. I mean, I'm so impressed with Eric Stokes. The second year, third year cornerback. He was kind of seen as maybe a little too short, maybe not able to play outside of the slot. He is so tough. He's so quick, and he wants to he wants to kind of attack on every play, which I think is such an important thing to have from a young guy and from a cornerback. And Campbell is like a superstar now.
Yeah.
Campbell I didn't was never expecting when he signed this contract to be as dynamic as he is, and he had an unbelievable pass breakup to basically end the game.
Yeah,
It,
and I mean, I feel like every year I'm talking about how Jair like Alexander is such an underrated player in the NFL. I know that did he get injured in this game again?
yes,
Right.
I think he is kind of day to day, but no,
But point being is just for me, I feel like him as a starting corner, he still doesn't get the love that he deserves. But
and there'll be even so much more. There are going to even be more. There's going to be even more firepower when he's fully healthy.
yeah,
I mean, to have that blue chip corner coming to basically come back from injury or whatever, whenever that. I mean, I do hope. Obviously, I'm not sure exactly per the injury report or what happened after, whether he'll be out multiple weeks, but I mean, him and Stokes together, Rasul Douglas. I mean, it's just a really, really fun group on that side of the ball. And like I was said, I was just not expecting to be like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting my attention span to be mostly focused on the Packers' defense and not their offense.
yeah. But that's the thing is like Rodgers is not the same guy. I mean, he's still great, but he's not the same guy that he was. But part of that does benefit them because he's just efficient at making really good decisions on
Oh
offense
yeah,
as opposed to putting the entire team on his back. Like I feel like the way I talk about Lamar Jackson is how things were for Aaron Rodgers for so many years, which is just they don't do anything unless he fits it into a tight window. But now you have the two-headed running back monster of AJ Dillon and Aaron
Aaron
Jones,
Jones.
who
Yep.
I don't think are superstars, but I think that they're really good players.
And they're a
And
good platoon. Like they offer. It's interesting to see them. I was reading about this today. Kind of, they've been using this what they call pony formation,
yeah,
based off of the SMU Eric Dickerson and Craig James. I think Craig James. I'm not sure if I'm getting his name right. They were the ton of two
I'm not,
platoon.
I don't know this. I don't know the RB2 on SMU when
from the
Eric
early 19
Dickerson
from the
was
early
playing there.
1980s.
No, I'm
Sorry.
sorry.
It's so that's kind of why they call it that. But it's when they kind of using two running backs in that formation. And like last, I think it was week 2. Um, Aaron Jones just had an amazing run into the end zone with Dylan as the lead blocker. So they have been doing some actually genuinely like interesting and fun stuff with the run game that doesn't even have anything to really to do with Rodgers, which I think is huge, especially given the kind of on ramping period I think that's needed for Rodgers to develop the relationships with these new
Yeah.
receivers. And credit. I mean, I'm very happy to see that Romeo Dubes got his first receiving touchdown, even though obviously it was not a great day for the offense. I think there are certain steps where I'm still seeing some encouragement, even though they wasn't nearly as dynamic of a game as it was against the Bears, the Packers offense. But I think you're not going to have an easy day with on offense against the Bucks defense.
And
just
also
generally.
another situation where the extreme heat clearly played a factor. I don't think it was as bad in terms of like the way that
With the Dolphins game?
the Dolphins
Yeah.
game, like the stadium seemed to be set up in a way to actually actively make the opposing team be as hot as possible given the sideline construction. I don't think that's the case down in Tampa. I could be wrong, but yeah, I the Packers were efficient. It was a defensive struggle. Everyone seemed to be really overheated, and Tom Brady did not have Mike Evans, did not have Chris Godwin, and
Yeah,
he had just
it's
a bunch of no-name.
Totally.
But even in my opinion, Brady hasn't looked good all year with those
It's
guys.
true, and there have been times where he's had to operate with a group like that, where he's had to even rely on guys like Scotty Miller, and he's looked better relying on guys like that in the past. But I understand,
he loves his little white guys.
of course, everywhere he goes. I understand, because like you're saying, Evans being in serving a suspension, Godwin's still not healthy, relying on no Gronk anymore either, relying on Scotty Miller and Cole Beasley and Julio Jones at this stage in his career. It's not a super like imposing receiving core, but you're still kind of expecting, after the season Brady had, where even age 44, age 45 was still leading the league in a lot of passing metrics. He has looked pretty underwhelming and pretty open to pressure. I mean, he's gotten. I think there's a similar thing too, in the sense Donovan Smith on the Bucs offensive line is not fully healthy. That line is still a little banged up as well. He's kind of relying on that, and also it's tough when, in a game like that, when probably the game-breaking play was going to be Brady shaking off a tackle and sprinting for like 20 yards, only for it to be called back on a holding call by one of the replacement tackles. I mean, in a game like this, which essentially was an ugly rock fight, you got to make every yard count, and you can't have sloppy, like, stupid plays like that. Phase out the only real offensive gain the Bucs made to kind of like get themselves back in the game to potentially put themselves up right before it ended. But
he just does not. Well, I mean, I shouldn't remark on this. He looks really miserable. He looks really miserable.
Especially when he came out and the knee brace was kind of all messed up after he slid. And the holding call came. He just looked like, I mean, of course, it's body language. We're body language experts here over at ESVN.
And I'm sorry, I saw on page 6 that his wife was not at her first home game for like ever, and just his kids showed up.
So then all of a sudden, this random guy that he's not used to playing with makes a holding call after he is a 45-year-old man risking life and limb to run down the field. He's probably like, "Where's that tablet?"
I know.
Give me another tablet.
I need to break a third tablet.
I need to break another tablet.
Because he broke 2 last
week. They're like,
week.
Tom, stay away from the tablets.
Temper tantrums. I mean, I don't know why we make excuses for like this man just because he's won for a long time. But I mean, he walks into the stadium. He's wearing like a T-shirt with his face on
with the yearbook off. I'm like, come on,
You're
man.
a douchebag. I'm sorry. And he makes it so easy to root against him. It's just like, I don't understand why players like him create their own like media empires dedicated to themselves, besides just a massive ego trip. But it doesn't seem to be. Some people eat it up. I find it to be relentlessly inauthentic. But he just does not seem like he's enjoying his life right now. And he seemed to get everything he wanted. He clearly did not want to work with Bruce Arians anymore. Bruce is out. He wanted to basically have more control of the offense with him and Byron Leftwich. That's the case. Todd Bowles is working with the defense, and he's the head coach at this point.
And they're looking like so much, not only better coach, but also just like better, period.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense looks like a brick wall, basically, given everyone out there. And the offense, and I feel bad for saying this because I like Leftwich the person. I liked Leftwich the coach when he was the offensive coordinator for the Bucs. I mean, he's still the offense. I mean, under Arians.
Yeah.
I liked him as a player. Like, I feel bad saying this, but I think it was something we might need to monitor is like, they're not looking as innovative or as kind of like scheme proof as they had, when Arians was the head coach. Like they're not.
And
It's
some of
not
that could
looking
be
as
the
dynamic.
line. Some of that could be the line. Some of that could be Brady's just not playing that well this year. And he could, when he first got to Tampa, it didn't look that great for the first few games as well. And they still, I think, ended up having a decent record. But he could get hot at the end of the year. But I just think, there are sometimes people who resist analyzing the play for what it is because Brady has a reputation as a winner and he's won so much. But, players are not static. They age, and it looks like it's catching up to him.
And would I be surprised if there was a massive or rapid deceleration for a 45-year-old quarterback playing at still some of his best football in a 20-year career? No, I wouldn't be surprised.
No.
He's 45.
When it happens,
he's 45.
It falls off quick.
That's what
yes.
I think, and I've said this too about LeBron James in the sense of like he will be 40 in 2020 in December of 2024. And he's still playing some of the best basketball of his career, despite the rest of the Los Angeles Lakers. But it could fall off for him too. It fell off for Carmelo Anthony. It fell off for Dwayne Wade. These guys are outliers, and at some point, age does not really account for outliers forever.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to play quarterback at 55. Neither LeBron's not going to be able to play at the 3, or the 4 for until he's 60. It's just not possible.
Right.
So if there is a precipitous downfall, which is I'm not wishing for it for either guy, but I'm just saying it's within the realm of possibility at some point for it to not be the way it was when they won the Super Bowl.